and why we went into slavery and the conditions. Why did the Negro in America go into slavery? Because your name's Cypher Allah, right? Cypher meaning 360 degrees, right? And it's supposed to be true, complete, like the Most High is what you're saying, right? So now I'm saying to you, why did the Negro go into captivity? No. The reason, give me Deuteronomy 28 and verse 15 real quick. I'm going to show you why the Negro went into captivity. All right? Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 15.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments.
Some of the commandments?
All his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So now, brother, slavery is a curse. The conditions of what happened to the so-called Negroes, so-called Hispanics, so-called Native Americans, that is a curse that happened to us because why? Was it because of greed, or what was it because? It was because we didn't keep the commandments. We wouldn't obey and hearken to the voice of the Lord our God. So all these curses came upon us and overtook us, right? But hold on, you said being tricked by Yaqub. That's a false doctrine. Because you got to understand, listen, who was Jacob's father? No, who was Jacob's? Jacob in the Arabic is Yaqub, all right? So now Jacob, that's all that translates to is Jacob. But Jacob comes from who? See, you're not getting this understanding because what you're learning, that goes back to Message to the Black Man in America. It goes back to what you learned from Clarence Jowers 13X Smith, right? Who they used to call pudding on the street, right? That's what you learning. That's what you learn. But you yet to learn what thus saith the Lord. That's the problem. See, so now, hold on. Let's deal with the one thing first. One thing at a time, brother, right? So now, we got to understand who was Jacob's father. Jacob's father was Isaac. Isaac's father was who? Isaac's father was Abraham, right? Abraham had a son. He had two sons. One was a bond slave, was a bondman, and the other is the free, right? Born from the free woman, Sarah, born from the bond woman, Hagar. Who was born from Hagar? It was Ishmael, from which you get the Arab nations, from which you get Islam. Got this. How they talked about sitting for the Arab in the wilderness. Go to Jeremiah chapter 3 and verse 2. Because understand, every nation on the planet had us into captivity at one time or another. That's what you got to come to understand. So Jeremiah chapter 3 and verse 2. Read that.
Jeremiah chapter 3 verse 2. Lift up thine eyes into the high places and see what thou hast not been lying with.
So lift up your eyes into the high places and see where thou hast not been lying with. Because what? We labor and taken on the customs of all the nations. They learn. You get along Chinese, you want to learn how to worship Buddha. You get along the Africans, you're going to start learning their customs. We learn every custom but how to keep laws, statutes, and commandments in the faith of Christ as Israelites. We've lain with all the customs of the world. We even lain with the so-called white man and learn his ways to be his perfect slave. So read it again from the top.
Jeremiah chapter 3 verse 2. Lift up thine eyes into the high places and see what thou hast not been lying with. And the ways hast thou set for them.
In the ways, in the doctrines, in the traditions, in the ways you sat down to learn, you sat for them. Come on.
As the Arabian in the wilderness.
As the Arabian in the wilderness. We sat and learned Islam. But that wasn't what the Most High taught us. Read.
And thou hast polluted the land with the whoredoms, with thy wickedness.
And thou hast polluted the land with thy whoredoms and thy wickedness. Because what? Our people love to be consuming their lust. If they want drugs, they gonna get it. They want a woman, they gonna get it. They want a man, they want to get it. They want to do sodomite, pedophilia. They consume with their lust. Read that last part again, that last precept. It said, but thou, what is that verse? As the Arabian, read it from there.
As the Arabian in the wilderness, and thou hast polluted the land with thy whoredoms and with thy wickedness.
Polluted the land with thy whoredoms and wickedness, even idolatry. Are people going into idolatry? And when you start looking at the so-called 5% doctrine, the nation of gods and earth, very plainly, they call themselves gods.
Yep.
But they are no gods. They don't know all things. So like the brother, his name, Cypher Allah, Cypher is supposed to mean 360 degrees. That brother don't have a complete understanding of thus saith the Lord.